brother.
So how much different would have been, you think?
It would have been different. Like you said, it would have been different. But living reality, going to the offseason and keep working.
Zion, just how do you kind of put this year into perspective? Obviously, the injury was unfortunate, the timing, but you played more than you ever have in the regular season.
Like I said before, it's really bittersweet. Because even in OKC, even in Smoothie King, looking around and I'm just like, this is the playoffs. Everybody has the same shirt on. The fans are into the game. It was bittersweet, but I was still happy for my guys.
I know that wasn't the way you wanted to end it, but how much pride do you take in 70 games played this season?
That was definitely a step in the right direction. Looking to build on that next season. And hopefully do what I need to do so I can participate in the playoffs next year.
Everybody has kind of talked about how much growth they've seen from you, and not just on the court, because that's always been there, but just everybody's been, very flattering about the person you've become. Do you feel like this is your team and this is kind of your time to continue that?
I think that'd be up to my teammates and the staff. But I got to give my vets a lot of props to that. CJ, Larry, Cody, JV, and BI as well. Those guys are pros. So this year, instead of kind of being in my own little circle, I just kind of ask questions, ask them why they do certain things, and just try to incorporate it into my own life.
So what did you learn about yourself this season?
I learned how to have fun with the game, a lot of fun with it without putting too much pressure on myself. And I enjoyed it. Just something about having fun while playing the game I love is something.
Zion finished with a 40-point game, and they already talked about you played the most games so far in the NBA, and then you go down with the injury. How are you doing mentally given all this?
When it first happened, it was super frustrating. Really frustrating because, I just felt like I was in that zone. When it happened, just kind of knew. That's why I looked so frustrated. But, like I said, just got to build on it into next season and hopefully participate in the playoffs next year.
Your teammates talked a lot about
the fact that you guys weren't very close to your potential yet, but how close do you think this team is to what we really can do?
I think we made a lot of growth, but we still have a lot more improvements that we can make to be a special team. Where we're at right now is definitely not where we were at the beginning of the year, but I still think we have a lot of room to grow.
Your teammates talk a lot about the work you put in, the habits, the approach and all that stuff, how that was kind of new or improved this year. What did it take to kind of get to that point where you were able to establish the work that led to 70 games and the success this year?
Before I would always kind of just only focus on the court, but this year it was more like massages, a lot more treatment, and just staying on top of my body.
Have you went back and watched the Lakers game, the 40-point game yet? And if so, what is it?
I've seen a few clips, but honestly, it's frustrating. It's tough. It's tough to watch because that was a big game for us. That was a really big game for us, and I felt like we had that one, but things happen.
With the way that you changed your approach this season, are you going to change anything about what you do this summer?
Absolutely. I feel like there's always things that I can learn and grow from. So get a recap on the season and the things I did and see where I can improve.
How much the biggest thing you want to start to really, we saw it a little bit, and how comfortable are you getting to that midi, getting to, shooting more threes? It seems like later in the season you started to go to that just a little bit more.
Honestly, just confidence. I think and just being on the court more just gave me confidence. And then my teammates. My teammates watch me work on my jumpers every day after practice. So, they'll always be telling me, dude, shoot it. It looks good. Shoot it. So it got to a point where I was like, you know what? Why not? And I like the results, so I got a lot of room to grow there too.
And looking back on the season, and just thinking about the in-season tournament and everything that kind of happened after that, how much do you think that was kind of a significant moment in your career, just to have a different mindset, kind of carrying a chip on your shoulder after that?
That was definitely a big moment for me, because I didn't look at anybody else. I looked at myself, and I'll take full blame for that. I wasn't where I needed to be. I didn't perform the way I needed to perform. But I think it was one of those things that I needed to experience, because it definitely changed a lot for me during the season.
Do you think you're on the verge of being the player that everyone thought you were going to be in this league?
I don't know if that's an answer for me, a question for me to answer, but I know where I'm going. And I'm not going to speak too much on it, but I know where I'm going, and I know it's about to happen.
We saw you be much more vocal this year on the bench. Even, especially I think it was during this playoffs, like talking to Brandon, talking to CJ. Just how much more comfortable do you feel letting your voice be heard on certain things?
A lot more comfortable, because at the end of the day, we all have the same goal. We all want to win, but winning comes with a price, and I got to be vocal, because the more vocal you are when you get on the court, it's easy to be more vocal on defense. So it's like a domino effect on why I was more vocal. But I think this team, we all communicated, and we can only grow from there.
Speaking of the defense, how much pride did you take in that area of your game this year?
I got to give my respect to Najee, Dice, Jose, and of course, y'all know Five. Man, watching them dudes do what they do, as a competitor, when I see something like that, it's one of those, I got to get my shit together. And seriously, just like I'm watching Herb play free safety, I'm watching Naj and Jose and Dice pick up full court the whole time they're in the game, and I can't be the weak link. So I really locked into it, and there were a lot of games where I kind of went to the game like, nah, I need to lock in on defense. My offense going to come, but my defense need to be there.
That play against LeBron, where he got by you, and then you caught up and swatted him. Would you have been able to do that, you think, a year ago?
A year ago, athletically, yes, but that was more IQ, because I think he had Jose guarding him on that play or somebody, and just kind of looking at where his eyes were on if he was going to pass it or if he was going to attack the basket. So that was more IQ on that one. So I've grown defensively with my IQ.
Zion, what would be your message to fans next, to what they should expect from you next season?
What would be my message? I don't really got no specific message, but to the city, we appreciate the love, the support, and me and the guys are going to do what we need to do to bring the city what they deserve.
You mentioned the importance of the vets on this team. Why do you think Larry became a finalist for the Teammate of the Year award? What do you think is behind that, of why he was nominated for that?
Man, y'all talk to Larry. Y'all know what type of dude Larry is. Larry's just a good guy. He's very vocal. He'll say the things that maybe people don't really want to say. But he also checks on everybody. If he feels like somebody's going through something, he'll be one of the first guys to reach out, check on you. And it's beyond basketball for him. I think that's what makes him such a great guy, because it's beyond basketball.
Do you think, I know people forget, you were 18 when you got here, and before that there's obviously a lot of, high-profile moments, but do you feel like, maturity-wise, professionally, like it may have been tough at times, but the best is truly yet to come, and you are in a good spot right now, personally and professionally?
I definitely do believe that. The best is yet to come. And yeah, I think just the more I'm in the league, the more I grow.
And coming into this year, the talk was, ZB and CJ's got to have time together. They got to play more together. And now that y'all had that time together this year, what's the key to y'all just being more effective as a trio going into next year?
We figured it out a little bit, but I think my answer's kind of going to be the same with that. The more we're on the court together, the better we are.
You've
talk about stacking good days, and this year you focused on doing more stuff off the court as well. Just, do you think you found something from a nutrition standpoint this season that you can take with you just moving forward?
Absolutely, but like I said, I feel like there are always new things to learn. So get a recap of the season and start nitpicking what I could do better.
Thanks.
You guys have a great day.
What's your emotions like a few hours later after that?
Just, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It's always like a damn moment after things like this happen. You can kind of feel when something bad about to happen, but you never know when it's going to happen. And, you know, it's just kind of like a damn feeling. It's over. This season is over.
How do you balance the fact that this was the second best record in franchise history, 49 wins, and yet kind of the way that you guys went out in the playoffs too?
I guess every story don't have a good ending. We look back at this season and we see what we could have done better. We know the injuries, some injuries at some point of our schedule had messed us up a little bit, but we can do some things internally to make us a better ball club, make us a better organization. We'll look back at it and see how we can be better.
You were, very insightful last night. A lot of self-awareness and, about your season, where you are, the organization. When do you start to kind of have conversations about the future and you and your team approaching Griff and handling the extension and having discussions about that?
I guess after everything is settled down, just after we think about the season and how it went, after we know what we need for next year, and where my head is and where Griff's head is. So I guess in the next few weeks, maybe.
Do you, people talk about, can he and Zion work? I know there were questions in Boston, can Tatum and Brown work? Do you believe that you and Zion can work here long term together and it can, be a harmonious basketball experience?
Yeah, we both care about basketball. We both care about winning. So, if we communicate and we figure out what we really want out of this thing, I think we inspire each other and we can do that. But it doesn't work without communication.
How far off do you think you guys are from reaching your full potential, just given how the last couple of years have gone? And then you play a lot this year, just kind of sputters with the injuries as of late.
You say our full potential?
Yeah.
I don't know. Every year our roster is going to change. The people that was here this year not going to be here next year. So, I think we determine that by the way that we go into the summer, the way that we go into next season, and what we talk about and how we get better each and every game and each and every practice. But I can't give you the answer right now. I don't know who's going to be here next year, and I don't know. I don't know the possibilities of anything, so I can't give you the answer.
Do you feel like you're close?
To my potential?
Like the team reaching that, like that elite level?
I think it's some things that there's some things that we need to do before we reach that level.
When you made your first All-Star appearance, you were taking almost 7 threes a game. Last few years, it's been a little under 4. Just what do you make of that? And do you feel like you need to get back up to that amount?
Absolutely, and that's the way the game is changing. If you look back to my All-Star year, we had it was some off the dribble threes, but we had Lonzo Ball and Drew Holiday who was finding people on the wing, and they were getting downhill, and had guys that would kind of play and knew the game and played a little bit more than other people, and they knew where different spots were. So that year, most of my shooting, three-point shoot, was catch and shoot. And I think now it's a lot of creating for yourself for threes, especially with our team right now. It's a lot of creating for yourself for three-pointers. So just got to look back, look at our roster and But have that in my arsenal to create my own shot from the three and find ways to find catch and shoot.
To that point, do you feel like this team could add or should add a traditional point guard in the offseason?
It would definitely be helpful, for sure. Yeah, it would be helpful.
You talk a lot this year about the work you, CJ, and Z did to kind of figure out, how to work together, how to make that thing work. But then, throughout the course of the year, the numbers just weren't as good with y'all on the court together. What do y'all have to do to kind of just show some improvement and figure out how to just be, more successful when y'all are playing together?
We got to understand that talent isn't gonna just win basketball games. It will win some basketball games, but we got to put things together and make sure that all of us are being effective on a really, really high level at all times. And that's going to take communication from me, Z, and CJ. I think back to when CJ was joking about us missing his calls, but that's one of the things where he was trying to really, really figure out like how we gonna do this, and that's something that's important over the summer is really getting with those guys and figure out like this is what we're doing.
Hey, brother, how would you kind of assess the job that Willie's done as head coach?
I think he's done a good job just being in the room. They got a lot of different personalities that he gotta attack every single day and be around. And I think he's just done a good job trying to keep positivity in the room when things are going good or bad. And over the years, he's gotten better in practices about the way we do things, the different things that we need to learn, and I think he's got better by the years.
I know when you got your first extension, it was coming off, the All-Star appearance. It just seemed like a no-brainer. This one, you said last night that it's been kind of a difficult summer and a difficult season. Do you stay out of negotiations? How do you let things not get personal, since you do have a good relationship with Griff and the organization?
I don't know. I'm just used to putting the work in. I'll be talking to Griffin, but I'll let my agent handle it, and they'll talk about it, and Griffin tell me how he feel about the situation. But the work got to show, the results got to show, and I'm just worried about that.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
y'all.
Just looking back at some of the numbers with you, BI, and Z, what do you think some of the things y'all can try to improve on just to figure out that marriage that y'all playing together and just getting the most out of each other?
I mean, honestly, I didn't look at the numbers in the last day or so, but I think it's just about trying to win, figuring out how to be most successful on the court. Obviously, that starts with defending at a high level, communicating, and then understanding the spaces that everybody's going to play in and exist in. But the more reps you get, obviously, the better and more comfortable you get, especially when you have consistency in the lineup and consistency around you with the rotations. But I think it's just about winning, honestly. Winning kind of cures all. So if you're able to do that, then you have success, and you're looked at as a successful person, a successful player, and a successful team.
I know you were playoffs for 7 straight years in Portland. There were always questions, can they work together? But like you said, winning cured all. People always believed in it because you won. Is it as simple as people believe in this trio if there's consistent winning at a high level?
Yeah, I mean, we haven't been able to perform in the playoffs as a trio, so it's hard to really judge. Obviously, when I first got traded here, Z was hurt, and then this past season, B was hurt for a month going into the playoffs, and then Z got hurt, so it was almost flipped for a little bit. But we haven't really been able to play together, so it's hard to really judge, on fit and, quote unquote, does it work? If you don't get to see it, it's hard to really be able to tell. So I think this situation is different because we obviously were able to play together in the playoffs when I was in Portland.
Obviously, the timing of his injury was unfortunate, but he played more Zion than he ever did in the regular season. Just what do you think of the year that he had?
I thought he had a really good year. I thought he was consistent. I thought he got better as the season progressed, and I thought he built some important habits that'll be successful and important for him, throughout the rest of his career. And I think that was the strides that I was, most pleased with. The on-court success is what it is, but I think the work behind closed doors is what, leads to longevity.
You ever think about what might have been if he hadn't strained his hamstring?
Nah, I try to live in the present and in reality. The important part is that we're still able to figure out a way to make it to the playoffs, and it's time for me to go.
Yes, sir.
We're just talking about, he just asked me if, I think about what could have happened if you didn't go down, and I said I live in reality.
Yes, sir.
We can't worry about woulda, shoulda, couldas.
But he asked, so he knows something.
What do you think would have happened?
Would have been a lot different.
That's a great answer. That's a great answer. Very broad answer. I like that.
I think it's
True or not?
time to go.
True.
Great
Thank you,
timing.
CJ.
Always a pleasure.
Yes, sir.
Hit me if you need me.
Yes.
Step up
Hell of
to
a
the line,
sunbed.
brother.
So, Herb, you've had, a little time to think about what just happened. What's your initial reaction?
I mean, of course, I think, speaking for everyone, I think everybody's a little disappointed in the way things ended, but I also think, we did improve, competed and played really hard this year. And you got to be okay with going out and putting forth your best effort and coming up short.
What was the key for you just making the jump on the offensive end that we saw from you this year?
Continue to trust the work, staying in the gym, just going out, like I said, continue to just trust my work and play with a ton of confidence.
With your shooting improvement, just on a day-in and day-out basis, do you have a goal of I want to shoot X number of shots, or what does that look like in terms of the work you put in just shooting the basketball?
You saying just workouts?
Yeah, do you come in and you're you have a set thing where you're I get up 400 shots every
Oh no, it's never a set amount. It's just all about feel. If I come in and I feel good about the 10 jumpers that I made, in the corner, then I move on. But if I don't, I stay and make as many as I need to.
Herb, have you planned out your summer at all on what you plan on doing, improving your game, taking a
No,
vacation,
sir.
anything at all?
Not at all.
From when you got here, obviously you're one of the guys they look at as a quote-unquote culture guy, but from 36 to 42 to 49, disappointing this year. But do you feel like this is an organization potentially on the cusp of doing great things?
For sure. As long as we continue to work, I think the sky's the limit. We just got to continue to, come in the gym, come back in the summer, continue to work hard and continue to build on, what we've already been building.
Herb, we finally got a good sample size of seeing B.I., C.J., and Z on the court together. What are your impressions? Do you think they can work together? So you want to see this that core continue forward?
For sure. And I think, they're a dynamic group. I think they all bring different things to the table that, complement each other. They're all phenomenal on the offensive end. They compete on the defensive end. So, if I don't know what the future holds, but I hope, we can keep that crew together.
Zion played in 70 games. Just what do you think about the work he put in this year to be really available this year?
It was beautiful to see, especially how a lot of people criticized him. It was beautiful to see him just get to work and not worry about what people may have been saying about him, and just going out on the court and proving himself night in and night out. It was a beautiful thing to see.
Hey, Herb,
You're obviously very close with Trey. Just what do you think his biggest area of growth was this year, especially just coming back from injury?
The defensive side of the ball. Yeah.
Did you give him any pointers?
Not at all. I just told him to compete.
I know the all defensive team hasn't come out yet. If you were to get on the first team, what would that mean for you? And then also just the support from teammates, obviously the profile picture on Twitter is not on Herb. Just what has that been like for you?
It's been cool. I do thank everybody that has supported me and tried to get me on the first team, but it's a lot. I come in every day, I'm seeing not on Herb T-shirts. It's cool, but I kind of tell the guys to calm me down a little bit. But hopefully I can make the first team or a defensive team. That'll be a first, and that'll be something I can continue to build on as well.
Do you think the criticism that Zion got early in the season, especially on national television, kind of ticked him off in a good way?
For sure. And I think it was almost like a wake-up call. Like I wouldn't say, because it was on national television that made him flip the switch. I think it was just a point in time where, it was the turning point for him. And like I said, he went to work, and it showed, on a night-in, night-out basis.
Herb, can you say how different Zion is, say, now compared to maybe at the start of the year? Whether he's different with you guys, interactions, leadership, his game, anything?
I think for a team, like any player, as the season goes, you grow and you get better. I wouldn't say I was my best self at the beginning of the year. I think, over time, as you get closer with teammates, especially being out there playing, you learn so many different things about people. In the times where it gets tough out on the court, it kind of shows who they really are. Z's a great dude. Like, he's all about ball. He wants to win. And with a guy like that on your team, especially with his skill set, like I said, the sky's the limit. And I'm, excited to get back out there with him once he gets healthy.
And Herb, you got here at the same time as Willie. How would you kind of assess his growth as a coach?
You can look at the record. I think the first year a lot of people kind of counted us out just because of how we started. And Coach Green has always been a new day, new opportunity type of guy. That's kind of how I view it as well. No matter how bad yesterday was, the day could be a great day, and that's how Coach approaches it. Even after tough losses, he always emphasizes to come in and bring the energy regardless, and I think that showed in the team this year as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No comment about that.
Can you, I know it's early, but can you talk about your future? Would you like to be back?
You said it earlier. It's early, and now I gotta wind down, spend some time with my family, see my kids. That's all I focused, and then we're gonna make a decision.
I think this is the first time you've been, do you kind of relish this opportunity? It may be the first and last time I think you'll be an unrestricted free agent, kind of to do what you want to do, where you want to go. And do you kind of almost relish that opportunity?
Well, it's always opportunity, It's we'll see where this summer gonna take us. As I said, I want to wind down. I want to, spend some time with my family, be a regular dad. Then we're gonna sit down and make a decisions. Summer is gonna open up pretty soon.
How do you wind down? Like, where do you spend the summer? What does that look like for you?
Well, first I gotta go back to Lithuania. I always go back, spend some time with my friends, family, do my activities, what I do. So it's gonna be good.
Yes, where does this season rank for you since you've been here the last few years?
Well, I didn't think about it, I didn't rank it. I gotta put everything together. It was a good season. At the moments we were really good. It was ups and downs, like every season. But I love the group I played with, and we did some great stuff on the court. It was memorable.
Obviously, the wins went up for you guys, but where do you feel like y'all showed the most improvement this year as a team?
Well, togetherness. I feel like at the most games we were, we really had each other's back. We all fought. That's the biggest improvement we did this year.
How challenging of a season was this for you because of some of those ups and downs, playing time, things like that, while trying to navigate team success and all that kind of stuff?
Well, I said it before. I'm a team player. Whatever it takes. The big picture is winning. We didn't do that this year. Enough. But big picture is winning. You always, you gotta fluctuate your role, minutes, whatever. as I said to the coaching staff, I'm here to help. I'm here to do everything to win the games. Stats not important when you look at the winning record.
You, since you got here, the winning has improved, obviously, all 3 years. Whether you are back here or not, do you feel like you have helped this organization move forward and create a positive winning culture?
I hope I helped. You tell me. You tell me. Do I help? I did everything what I can to increase winning, to be a winner, to be successful. Now, what people see.
JB, what impressed you the most about Zion's growth this year?
Well, he was professional. He really took time into be better on the court, off the court. Took care of his body. He was healthy a majority of the season. That was a big question before. Is he gonna stay healthy? And he did. Season is long, playing heavy minutes. When you're gonna have some bumps and bruises, but majority of the time he was healthy, and that was, his basketball is, tremendous. What he does on the court, the biggest question was to stay on the court, and he did it. So I think that was the biggest key.
How much pride do you take in just being one of the few guys in the league who played every single game this season?
Well, I'm really happy about that. I'm as tired as I am, I'm very happy. So, I'm just prioritize myself being available every day, every game, and being tough, playing through some, small injuries, pains, and should get a painkillers deal now.
Were you ever close to not
playing
a game?
Well, I was close playing every game. I don't know. That was kind of strange question. You play the games. You come in. You feel.
Right.
You feel. Yeah. The games is from. You're gonna get bruises and bumps and some sore spots, but you treat them. You get ready for the game and you go play the game. That was no other mindset for me. Just going out there and leaving everything.
Correct me if I apologize. Lithuania qualified for the Olympics, right? No?
I apologize you.
He has to. Too soon. You have to play.
Too soon.
I was going to ask
Good
if you
job.
were playing. Sorry.
Good scenario. You said it right. Good.
You may have to play.
They
Jose,
will.
right?
Lithuania will,
Okay.
but not yet.
Okay.
So to that though, you may have to play Jose to do that.
Yes.
Are you?
Yeah. Already start trash talking to him.
How much do you cherish being able to do that for your national team? I think you've played something like 16, 17, 18 consecutive years. To being able to always be available for Lithuania.
That's my country. That's my pride. I've always felt pride putting that Lithuanian jersey on, and being able to, play for my country, small country as it is, being participating in, world, European championships, Olympics. That's a pride for me. That's what I do. That's what I enjoy. And I'm always going to do till my body going to let me do.
That's what I was going to ask a follow-up. How far have you seen international basketball come? I mean, a lot of us remember the Dream Team and how overwhelmed the world was, but now it seems like the world has caught up to the USA, at least in some capacity.
Everybody learning how to play basketball now. Basketball is evolving, and it's beautiful to see. Competition level went very high. Even last summer in World Cup, it was competition was really, really high level. So happy to see basketball going up.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
All right, y'all go ahead. I'm done. Go ahead.
What's your feeling just how this season went for you? Obviously, starting out injured and then getting it going. Just what's your overall assessment on your season?
All things considered, I feel like it was decently successful season. I mean, we won 49 games. I mean, can we first say, like, winning 49 games is not an easy feat in the NBA. If we were in the Eastern Conference, we'd be third seed. So, it is what it is. Obviously, we wanted the season to end a little differently, but overall team success, I would say was was good. I mean, I was able to contribute to that as well. And it was my first time having like a real major injury. So coming back from that was, something I had to deal with mentally and try to get over the hump with that.
Every year you've been here, y'all have gone constantly up in wins. How close do you feel like this team is to being elite?
Pretty close. I mean, once again, we won 49 games, and that wasn't a fluke, especially with all the guys we had out throughout the season, just timing everything. Could have won even more games, but I mean that's the NBA. But I mean we have a lot of guys on this roster that are able to put the ball in the basket, able to guard, and just do a lot of different things on the court that help winning. So that's really what it boils down to.
Do you see that? I think there's a lot of national people that talk about your growth and what you've been able to achieve and still where you can go. Do you see that? And is it hard maybe to kind of compartmentalize it, understanding you still have work to do and like not eat the cheese, so to say?
Oh no, I know where I can go, especially with what I'm able to do, how hard I work, and just overall drive. And I think the biggest thing for me is still staying where my feet are, continue to work hard every single day, not worry too much about the future, but also understanding like I'm going to be a really good player in this league, and just a matter of time before it really shows.
Trey, what's your feel on potentially getting an extension done this summer versus waiting?
Obviously, we're going to try to do what's best for me and the Pelicans, and so I hope we can get something done. But at the end of the day, like it's not about money. Like it's like I just want to play basketball, and hopefully get something done.
Hey, Trey, you guys at the same time as Willie. How would you sort of assess his growth as a coach?
Definitely grown a lot. We came at the same time. Definitely didn't speak a ton my rookie year, partly due to me not playing as much, not being in rotation, and then also just overall just chemistry. And as the time has gone past, we've definitely talked a lot more, opened up a lot more about different stuff, and I definitely appreciated him being there.
Trey, how different do you think it would have been if Zion doesn't get hurt?
I mean, there's a lot of ifs that you can try to, make up and try to think about, but it doesn't really matter. Like, he wasn't there for it. He was hurt. I mean, it's just part of the NBA season. Obviously, we'd love to have him there. Have one of your best players on the floor, but, we've done this the entire season. We've had to play without him, play without other guys, and figure it out. So, I'm not going to, play in a fairy tale type of situation.
But you got to admit, at the time, though, he was playing at an incredibly exceptional level, right?
Absolutely. 40 points and 40 and 11 in a playing game. That's pretty elite, I would say.
What kind of growth did you see from him as a person, not just as a player, just as a person and his approach, since you've gotten here to where he is now?
Nah, I think Z definitely grew a lot this season, and his overall work ethic, his communication with his teammates, and just taking care of his body. I think this season he really took care of his body, and he was really on top of everything. And I think just being out during that time last year really hurt him a lot because he saw what we were on, like the trajectory that we were on. We were #1 seed in the West, so just trying to get back to that. I think that's what his main focus was.
Trey, there's been a lot of questions revolving around whether the core of CJ, BI, and Z can work together. How would you answer that? What do you think, how they can work going forward?
That's not something for me to answer, in all honesty. Obviously, we won a lot of games with them this year, but that's not something that is up to me. Obviously, I love playing with all three of those guys, and whatever happens. It's the NBA. It's a business at the end of the day.
I know they work on the court though together. Instead of,
like I said, that's not for me to answer. We won 49 games with those three on the court, so I'm sure that should be somewhat successful.
I know, I mean this half jokingly too, your mom kind of came in on one of the press conferences and your family.
Sadly.
When you're asked about an extension, do you think your mom and your agent, your parents would hear you say it's not about money, would say probably, whoa, son, it's a business. Don't,
No, absolutely. I'm not going to act like there isn't, I'm not going to act like I don't care at all about the money. That would just be stupid of me. It's a chance to have generational wealth, be able to do things for my family that, I haven't been able to do and I've been planning on doing. So obviously it means a lot, but I'm not going to be, how am I going to say this? I'm not going to be super money hungry to the point where I feel like I'm just being selfish. Let me just say that.
Herb said that the biggest area of growth he saw from you this year was on the defensive end of the floor. Just what happened with you in the game that it slowed down? Like, why were you able to make those strides on the defensive end?
Nah, and if I'm being completely honest, it was a Lakers game in LA. Probably one of my worst defensive games that I had, and I just had this pit in my stomach about how I played, and I was just like, I'll never ever let that happen again. And so, just taking pride in it, and really having Herb behind you when you're on the ball, it makes it a lot easier. I just try to send everybody to Herb, makes my job a lot easier.
Trey, bouncing off that question, what was your favorite development of Herb's this season?
I mean, shooting 40 from 3 is probably one of them. I mean, I've always told him he needs to shoot the ball. I mean, dating back to my rookie year, he wouldn't even look at the rim, and now he's shooting 40 from 3. It's just a testament to how hard he works.
You weren't here, but there was years where it seemed like guys had one foot out the door the second they got here. Now it seems like guys are trying to come here, and it's because of the people they draft and the people they have. How much does that mean, being somebody who has helped build that?
No, that's cool. Obviously, I mean, you worry about the people that are here, and if people want to join along, then obviously that's cool. But I mean, I just worry about the people that are in the facility right now, and I just try to play my game, try to win. I think when you win and you compete at a high level, play the right way, people want to gravitate towards that. So hopefully that's what people want to do.
What do you focus on this summer individually? Things to work on the most?
Really, just overall strength. Staying healthy. Continue to work on my knee, make sure I'm in the best position possible for, next season with my knee, and overall game. Like, I'm not going to just come back as, one-dimensional player. I would like to still continue to grow my game and become the player I think I can be.
The rebounding improved a good bit, especially down the stretch. Was it just as simple as effort?
Yeah. That was it. Just go get the ball. That's it. Grab the ball, finish possessions. Trying to win. I think that was the biggest thing. Just competing, and rebounding is a part of that.
You talked about enjoying being on a team with another great shooter like Jordan. How much you looking forward to seeing his growth this summer?
Nah, I'm super excited for him. I mean, this is the part of the process that is so important. My rookie year, I didn't play as much as at first. Started playing a lot at the end, but I used that motivation of not playing to really fuel that summer. And so I'm just really excited to see what he does when he comes back. I told him after the game, I was like, this is a really important summer for you. And, I'm going to need you out there. So make sure you do what you have to do in order to be out there with me.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
So what's your feeling on this year for you individually and the team as a whole?
Oh, man, me individually, I mean, I think the regular season went pretty good. I fought through a lot of injuries coming in from the jump. So, I mean, I got a lot to improve. I want to improve, so I'm excited about that. But I think overall, regular season was cool. But this playoff series, made me personally think it ain't me, So I got to figure it out. I mean, which I will, and go in this off season and keep improving. I feel like that's what I do. Just keep on and trying to improve.
And we saw you and B talking for a long time in the locker room last night. What was kind of the message y'all was sharing, at the end of that series?
I know it's so easy. We all, basically, long story short, we basically said it's so easy to say what we going to do, because the feeling of how, at that moment, we knew we both probably played, like, bad, and then we all looked at each other and said, let's try to keep this word to us, to me and him, and say, let's basically get cool with the uncomfortable. Like, let's get better of feeling uncomfortable, and that's what it's gonna take.
How close are you guys, Jose?
I mean, it's hard to say, when we don't got one of the best player, being injured at the moment. So some days you can ask us, and we feel like we close, really close. But then some days, when stuff like this, we like what's the missing piece. But I mean, we gotta look at each other in the mirror and see what we got by our side and see what's moving forward and get better.
Is there ever if he doesn't tweak his hamstring, is there a what if there, you think?
I mean, if Phoenix lose that game to Sacramento, by that 1 point, we in the 6th seed, and he don't have to play 83 games. He'd be playing in the playoffs. So it's always a what if. That's the always thing that hurts us. If we lose fully healthy, then we lost, right? But we still lost. But it's just like what if is always bother us. So yeah, we just gotta lock in.
Jose, the season just ended. You got the option on your contract. Do you have any feel whether that'll happen or it'll be something you talk about, a couple of years with the Pelicans or anything like that?
I mean, I hope the best. I love New Orleans. As we figure it out, it's probably more. They got more important things to figure out first, and then me. So, but that's okay, because I want that important piece to get figured out before me, because then my decision probably be more easier on what happens. But man, whatever happens, it happens. God got a plan for me. I love here. I love New Orleans. I love the city. So, if God got me staying here, then it's here. But I'm happy with whatever happens, because like I said, I keep on improving it. I'm gonna get better every year, and I'm gonna be more confident.
And you and B.I. super cool. How do you expect him to respond to the way he played during these playoffs?
I mean, I think I heard it last night. He said it. He looked himself in the mirror. He looked himself in the camera. He said he played like shit. And he got to get better. He will get better, and that's what we want from a player, right? We don't want a player to try to make an excuse. We don't want a player to shy away from what happened, and he's not shying away. He want to get better here, and he wants to do something so he like what he capable of doing.
I talked about the jump that you made over the course of the season in three-point shooting, in terms of like specific things that you added that you were better at, and like pull-up three-point shooting, stuff like that. What did you think of kind of the improvements that you made in that area?
He said that? He's a good guy. To me, I'm hard on myself. The regular season was great for me, but I made 1 3 in this playoff series. Sorry for my line. I made 1. So we gotta figure out what was that. But like I said, I'm not gonna take away from what I did this whole year, because I really do work hard, and I'm gonna improve. Whatever they need me to improve, and they need me to improve in that jump shot, I'm gonna improve in it. They need me to, whatever they need me, my role is, I'm gonna be the best at that, no matter what it is. And I feel like that's what the jump I took. And I think this year, the lesson and I got from this season is how strong mentally I could be. I went through a lot of stuff that I could have broke down, and then I got great guys around me, and it showed me. My first year, I had to work on a few stuff they told me. I worked on it. Came back my second year, I got better at it. And this year, I think this is the most important year I learned about how mentally tough you got to be in this game, and then next year I improve in that.
And what are the keys to mental resiliency?
Forget, forgive and forget. I mean, this game, you can have one game, you could go have, really shooting night, the next day you're not. But how you gonna affect the game when you're not doing it? Unfortunately, I'm blessed to not be in a row when my shots is not all that matters. So, when my shot's not falling, what else can I do, and how can I affect the game in that aspect? And believe in my work, shoot the next shot. Be confident. Don't overthink it. I think this year I thought about it a lot, because I was missing so much, and you can't do that when you want to be the best of your version of yourself.
What was it like seeing Najee have the type of playoff series he had?
I'm happy for him. Obviously, I know we didn't achieve what we wanted to as a team, but I think my dog, he got it. He gonna be all right in life. He gonna be all right. So I'm happy for him. He felt that confident. He built. He went through some stuff this season too, mentally. So showing him that he improved. So he's good.
And last year you weren't able to play for Team Puerto Rico. How much are you looking forward to being part of Olympic qualifying?
Oh, this summer's gonna be a lot. I mean, a lot of people say it in this moment, right? This summer's gonna be this. Nah, my work. I'm gonna show y'all what it is to, lock in on myself. Finally, be disciplined. I gotta be disciplined in that weight room. I gotta be better in that weight room. So that's one thing I'm gonna be better at. And like on the court thing, I'm always gonna be Jose, always improve. But Puerto Rico is gonna be fun. It's gonna I end the season healthy, right? So I'm gonna be playing with them, and it's gonna be fun though. Like I said, it's a different role for me over there, and get to improve on my game.
JB says that the trash talk has already begun between y'all and Lithuania.
Oh yeah. I told him I put his in the pick and roll. But man, it's gonna be fun, seeing him, and obviously it's gonna be fun for just seeing him and just enjoying the game. I can't wait to go see him in Puerto Rico, and probably go out, eat some dinner, and then go play him.
It was just like, be around this Pelicans organization, what you learned about how this thing operates this year.
Yeah, it's a great organization from top to bottom. I knew some of the players before coming here, so I think that kind of made it easier transition, with coming on the court, off the court. We have really good relationships, so I think it's a really great spot to be and to learn as well.
And you kind of fit in the locker room immediately as soon as you got here. What did you think about just what they're building culture-wise and the way these guys fit together?
Yeah, no, I think it starts at the top, and I think there's a lot of good people that have really good intentions, and they bring in people that have the same mind frame as them. So I think it just made it easy. It felt welcome right away, so there was never really a struggle with that because it's a lot of great people from top to bottom for sure.
Obviously, you got a lot of friends in OKC as well. Just what was it like going up against them over this last four games or so?
Yeah, no, I think as a competitor, you want to beat them, But I think, it's a lot. It's very similar. A lot of good people over there as well. They're real young. We all came up together, so it's a lot of good people. Those are my good friends, and wish them the best and hope they can do their thing this offseason, this postseason.
What do you feel like? I was going to say, where do you feel like your game grew the most this season?
Yeah, I think they're just more mature. I think everybody was so young. Everybody was year one, year two, but I think the older guys, Shea, Kenrich, Muscala, they have some guys in there that can really help guide them in this postseason. I think you can kind of see it with how they attack each game. The guys, Giddey, J. Will, J. Dub. Pretty much the whole team. They're all real young. So they've been doing a really good job over there.
What do you feel like your game improved this season?
Yeah, I think like obviously I didn't play as much is for sure, but I think just bringing the maturity of being able to be prepared for any situation, knowing that it might not be the night I want and playing the minutes I want, but I'm ready for any situation when I'm called upon.
What do you think about just the state of the Western Conference where 49 wins gets you in the play, and you got some teams even under you who are coming?
I know, right? I think it was we were talking about, like, saying at the beginning of the season, if we were told you have to win 50 games to maybe make the playoffs, you would think that's crazy. But the West is really good, and like you said, there's teams under us like Houston went 500 and didn't make it. There's the Spurs are really good. The Utah Jazz are really good. So there's a lot of teams that are really good in the West, and it's gonna be a grind. But you love it. This is what we dreamed of being able to do, and we just live that reality.
When you were a free agent, just kind of deciding where you want to go, took the two-way here, paid off, converted into a deal. Just like, what was your general thought process of like why you decided to come here, and did you feel like you were going to get that opportunity to like get the full deal?
Yeah, for sure. I think knowing that there was really good relationships from top to bottom here really helped that decision, and knowing that there's going to be opportunity at some point, just knowing that I'm going to just keep working and just keep having that great mind frame that I'm just ready for any opportunity. So I think this is a really great spot, and I love it here.
Jerry, what's your biggest takeaways from both your spending your year with BI and Z? Whether it's a good memory, something you didn't know about them previously?
Just seeing them come in every single day and being professionals and getting after it every single day. Like, I really appreciate being able to, come in and learn from them in those aspects. And I know we're all very similar in age, but they have a maturity to them that makes it seem like they're beyond their years in that. So, just seeing how they attack every single day is really cool to see up close.
What do you work on or focus on individually this summer to be prepared for next season?
I think I just want to be comfortable being very uncomfortable, just working to exhaustion. I think because of being in a position I didn't necessarily play as much, I can really get after it this summer because my body's feeling good. I'm in a good mind frame, so just really getting after this summer is really important. I know, like, you could say like threes, finishing some, but I just want to be uncomfortable being really uncomfortable this summer.
Thank you.
Appreciate y'all. Yes,
Appreciate you.
Good. So, Dice, where do you feel like you showed the most growth this year and year two?
I think I just took a step, from last year, in defending, being able to play with the presence, being able to play with the ball, play make for my teammates, being a different position to what I'm used to. And, I think, there was growth, a little bit of everything in my game, but, there's a lot more growth that I have left in me. And, I'm looking to, show that, moving forward into year three.
What's that been like? Just the how much they've used you in different roles. You played point guard, you played some center, some wing. I guess what's that been like? Kind of adjusting to all the ways they've tried to use you.
Yeah, it's been different. Obviously, playing in some positions that I've been unfamiliar with a little bit, and I think with rotations and guys that we have and different lineups that we can play. When we have a switching lineup, when we go small, I can play at the 5 and I can play at the 1. So I think just my versatility there is something that is one of my strengths. But yeah, I think being able to play all these different positions, play out of the corner, play with the ball, play the 5-man sometimes, screen and roll and stuff like that. It just shows a little bit of my versatility and what I can do in the future.
What do you want to go to work on this summer?
Everything. I got a lot of things that I need to work on. I think the shooting is the main one again. Just being able to become a consistent 3-point shooter, a guy that they can rely on to kick the ball out that's going to knock down a shot. I want to be able to jump into high 30s, 40s, in my 3-point shot, and most of the shots that I take are catch and shoot threes. So I want to be able to develop off the dribble three. So teams can't go under as much, and I think with that'll put me in a better position to play the point guard more and be able to create for others and open up different stuff. And we got a lot of talented guys on this team that it can be sometimes hard to be able to play the point guard because we got a lot of guys that can score the ball, a lot of guys that need the ball. So I think one thing that I want to improve on next year is demanding that point guard role and being able to make for guys like Z, Bi, Trey, like these guys who are so good offensively. Just being able to take a little bit of load off them and be able to put them in the corner, have them come for down screen and get an easy bucket rather than having to work so hard for every bucket. So for me, it's a big off season for me. I got a lot of stuff coming up with like Olympics campaign and stuff like that. So I want to make sure that I have a good off season, working on the stuff that I need to, and I'm going to sit down with my trainer and make sure that we set out a good plan.
How important are the Olympics going to be for you? In meaningful will that be to play in your first Olympic Games? Yeah,
it's huge. Obviously the Olympics is a big thing, and to be able to represent your country is an honor. And I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I've been looking forward to that my whole life. I always grew up watching the Olympic Games and stuff. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But for me, I feel like I have a lot to prove. I have a lot left in me. I have a hell of a lot more to my game that I can show. So I think the Olympics is going to be a big part of that. Helping me get to where I want to go. I think being able to perform on the Olympic stage will help me here with my NBA career as well, and just show a little bit more of what I can do because I feel like I have a lot left in me that I haven't shown yet.
I was going to follow up with that. For a lot of us, it was always Team USA and then everybody else. Just kind of the growth you talked about, seeing it growing up, and I know you saw guys like Dellavedova and other guys. Where has the rest of the world moved closer to the U.S. in your opinion?
Yeah, I think the whole game, just the European game, the Asian game. Like I think it's starting to become closer. It used to be USA and then everyone down here. I think everyone's starting to creep up. Just the talent level, you see in the NBA nowadays with all the European guys and stuff like that, and the way basketball's played. And FIBA's a different game. The court's smaller. It's shrunk a lot more. You have to play more as a team. And I think when it comes down to it, the best teams win. The teams that play together, the teams that know their role, their wins. You can throw as much firepower out there as you want, and it can be hard to gel together. So the team that plays the hardest, the team that plays together, the team that has the most chemistry is usually the team that wins. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun in years to come. And the Olympics this year, just seeing the different countries battle it out, because I think it is everyone's on the same level now, type thing. And you see the team, the US, and there's not going to be no easy beats. So they're the ones that everyone's going to be targeting. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you. Appreciate it.
First year here with this team, seeing how they work, and just obviously a disappointing ending, but seeing what they were able to build throughout the course of the season.
Yeah, it was a pleasure to just be a part of the organization. Great organization from top to bottom, front office, coaching staff. The locker room was one of my favorite locker rooms that I've been around in my career. The positives, obviously, you get 49 wins, which is a great year, a lot of talent. Obviously, we end the season a little sooner than we wanted to. A play-in game. It's just the West is so tough. 49 wins gets you, a play-in game and first-round exit. So, the nature of this business is that there's got to be changes just because you got to move forward. We all understand that. So that's what sucks about days like today is that we know that same group, that same locker room won't be together. Apart from what happened on the court, just the special group in the locker room, we just enjoyed coming to work and being around each other every day.
What made this locker room so different from others you've been around?
It's just a good group of guys that just enjoy working, but celebrate each other's success. There wasn't any egos. Obviously, everyone wants individual success, but also, being able to, celebrate other guys' success as well. So from top to bottom, no matter whose night it was, no matter who's was getting the touches, it was, as long as we are winning and playing well, that's all that everyone wanted.
Zion played in 70 games, was having, a moment against the Lakers. Just how cruel was the timing of what happened?
That was really tough. For Zion, even from like an outsider, I was looking forward to coming here to see what Zion was all about, because you kind of hear all the media, the outside, on what he's like on the court, off the court. He could not have been better on the court as far as his work ethic, the kind of teammate he was, and then off the court as well. He's a good dude. He's just enjoyable to be around, enjoyable in the locker room. He's got a great sense of humor. He's low key. He's just been in a tough spot, being in the spotlight since he was so young in high school. But it's been an absolute pleasure to be around him this whole year. So apart from obviously, getting hurt at the wrong time for our team, I couldn't be happier for him for staying healthy and having such a good year.
Okay, what did you learn about BI in the same sense as Zion? You were an outsider before, you got to know him as a teammate. What stood out to you about him?
Yeah, he just, he lives and breathes the game. He cares more than anyone about how he plays. He's his own toughest critic. So I know the past few weeks haven't been his best performances, and how much has been eaten at him. But I know that's just going to fuel him more going into the off season. Like I said, he works hard even if there isn't any motivation. So he'll be back next year and even better than this year.
10 plus years into your career, what are some of the things that you focus on this summer to get ready for next season?
It's always getting healthy, and get away for a little while, let my body rest up. Body doesn't heal up as quick as it used to. 10 surgeries in 11 years, so so just get a little time off, let my body rest up.
How cool was it for you to see your wife perform in the Smoothie King Center a couple times this season?
That was really cool, and we got married in August, so this is our first year being married, living together, getting an apartment together. So it was so much fun just being us two in a new city that we didn't know, and New Orleans, the people of New Orleans were awesome with being very welcoming to us, and we tried to try all the good restaurants, and she enjoyed a lot of times. We just had one card on here, so she would drop me off here and go walk around Audubon Park or City Park, and all that. So, and also, like you said, special to have her perform as well. So really a memorable first year of marriage for us.
You have 10 surgeries in 11 years, like you said. I mean, what keeps you going?
Good question. It's a really good question. Honestly, it's like I was saying earlier. It's I didn't have as big of a role this year on the court, but I felt like I really enjoyed being a good vet. I've seen a lot throughout my career, and some guys just need have someone put their arm around them, whether it's losing playing time or shots aren't going in or whatever it is. So I felt like I was able to add value to the team just for being a good vet. It was a different role for me just because maybe I'm not grading myself on points and rebounds. I'm grading myself on, the attitude of the team and motivating, through my voice. So that was really rewarding for me, and it made it special to kind of share it with this group of guys.
Thank you.
So appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys. Appreciate it. Thank you.
I don't know. We talked since you got your deal done and everything. I mean, just what were the emotions of getting that done and all that?
About time. That's probably how I felt. But it was a great feeling. Right before the season ended, to kind of figure out that deal situation and get a little bit financial security and kind of get the feeling that I'm wanted here. And that's always a great feeling. It was my first year being in the same spot all year, which was great for me. And it's the progression that I want to keep taking, continuing to build on who I am as a player and contractually and all that kind of stuff. So just continue to head in the right direction.
Pelicans were banged up at the beginning of the season. You really stepped in at a time and helped a lot. Do you think you kind of showcased, especially early in the season, of like the value you can bring to the team and all that?
Yeah, no doubt. In a league that kind of looks after shooting and values it, I showed that I could shoot with the best of them. That's the confidence I have in myself and the belief I have. So, I showed that in the beginning of the year before I got a couple of injuries, which was unfortunate. But, I was out there. I think I was leading the league in shooting. So I plan on getting a lot better this summer at deficiencies, just like every player, and coming back strong next year.
You hear you guys talk a lot about, how tough it is to be one of the 450, right? You might think you're talented enough, but being able to lock down one of those spots. Just what has that been like the past couple of years, trying to really prove that, I can be one of these guys who consistently hold a roster spot in this league?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the belief you have to have, that you're one of the best in order to play well. So going from Exhibit 10 to two-way contract to now locking in, a roster spot, it's the progression that I always wanted to have. Just continue building, continue growing, getting better each year. But like you said, being one of the 450, it's a blessing, it's an honor. But, it's just the beginning for me. I truly believe that.
Going into this offseason, what's the biggest area that you want to improve?
I think it's obvious as a shooter and being a little bit lighter shade of skin, you kind of want to work on your defense and, taking care of that side of the ball. I think when you come back from injury like I did and, there being a little uncertainty, if I could just go out there and be in rhythm and compete on defense, make shots, continuing to just have an all-around game, improving all my weaknesses, whether it's dribbling, whether it's in the weight room, conditioning-wise, defensively. It's going to be a huge summer for me in a lot of aspects.
Matt, from a team perspective, how will you reflect on this season? Right, on the one hand, you guys won 49 games.
Yeah.
On the other, it was a disappointing finish.
I mean, you never want to get swept. That's never fun, especially, the way we did. I don't think we put our best foot forward in this series. But, when you look at the season as a whole, winning 49 games, always being in playoff contention in a stacked Western Conference, having multiple guys in and out of the rotation due to injuries. It's the NBA. It's a roller coaster. Every team goes through their own, trials and tribulations. Winning 49 games after going through the injuries that we had this year, it's a true testament to, the roster that we had, the roster that the front office put together, the trust that everybody had in each other, from the coaches to the players. So, from the outside looking in, when I wasn't here the past couple of years, New Orleans was a team that I saw that was on the rise, and now it's a blessing to be a part of it and take things to the next level.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys. Have a good summer.
So, how would you describe just the first year, getting your feet wet at the professional level, learning what it takes to be successful, in the NBA?
I mean, it was a blessing. First for to hear my name called last June. That was one of the greatest days of my life, and putting on the jersey and actually getting to play on the NBA floor was like the happiest day of my life. So I'm just blessed for the opportunity, first and foremost, because I know many people want to be here, especially where I'm from. Not a lot of people get to be here, so it was just it was a blessing. just to be around this group of guys with this coaching staff for my first year. So.
Trey said that he talked to you after the game last night.
Yeah.
Said this is going to be a really important summer for you.
Yeah.
How are you going to attack it?
It's a very important summer for me. I know I need to make that step, make that leap that I know I'm capable of doing, and they know as well. So it's a very important summer.
What's the thing you want to improve the most this summer?
Just working on my body, becoming a better shooter, becoming a better shooter off the dribble, finding different ways to create my shot, trying to create my shot off the dribble. So.
How key will the defensive end be as well? Making that jump.
It's very important. I think I learned this year how important defensive end is. So that's probably going to be on the top of the list for sure.
How have you leaned on some of the vets on this team, and even Trey? His rookie season being up and down in the team as well.
Yeah, I had a great chance to watch CJ and Larry and JV how they carry themselves, and even Trey carries himself like a vet too. So the way he gets his work done. So I was just watching those guys. I'm very observant, so I was watching those guys, see what they did, how they routine, what their routines were, and yeah.
You got a lot of Chicago Sky games on the schedule for the summer?
Yeah, Angel got to give me a ticket, though. I heard ticket's probably crazy. Price is crazy. He's got to give me a ticket for sure.
And obviously the season just ended, but how much are you kind of looking forward to Vegas and getting out there and kind of, getting more opportunity to run, get those shots up and stuff like that?
I'm really excited. Just excited the chance to play basketball any chance I get, and that'll be a couple months from now. But I can show how much better I've gotten and how comfortable I've gotten it with the NBA level. So.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So, what was the experience like this for you, like this year, just being part of the team, back from injury and just figuring out, how to continue to improve?
It was interesting. I was up and down a lot, with the Pels and back in Birmingham. So, just getting my legs back under me, trying to feel normal as possible, and just not think about it and gain that confidence back, just to go out there and play with a free mind and just a free spirit. So,
where do you feel like you improved the most?
My confidence level. My skills are still on the way, but just being able to play in Birmingham, play 30 minutes, just go out there and shoot as many shots, that helped me. So.
What is this summer going to look like for you? What are you going to be working on?
A whole bunch of self-improvement, just getting better, getting my shape back, getting my conditioning back, getting my body right. So.
What did you got? Go ahead, Chris.
What was it like, just the night in and night out competitiveness in the Western Conference, and the pressure to get as many games as you can when it seems like 9-10 teams won near 50 games?
It was ridiculous, honestly. I don't think there's ever been any other time like this in any other in history, but just watching it, being a part of it, seeing it, going to the top teams, playing against the top seeds, just seeing like what that looks like. I hope we could transfer that in the next year. So.
What did you kind of learn from some of the veterans on the team, Zion or whoever it was? Like, what did you kind of learn, pick up from them?
I feel like Z had my back a whole bunch this year, CJ, because those guys have came back off of injuries, and they just say like the year after the injury is just like kind of a wash year, kind of just, you're just trying to still figure things out, and guys like that have helped me. BI, he was just coming back off of injury, so everything just positive, just get back right this summer.
What were some of the biggest things that you took away from being back on the court, like things that you showed when you had a chance to play in games and squadron and stuff like that?
Just trying to be as consistent as possible with my work each day, even when I'm not playing. It's interesting because you don't really practice as much anymore. So just being consistent with the work each and every day.
What was that experience like, being in the G consistently and trying to figure out your game in that environment?
That was cool. I got to play with some freedom. I got to play through mistakes rather than, on the big stage and I mess up and everybody mad at me. But, yeah, just playing through mistakes, getting better.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah.
Appreciate you. I assume this white card is where I'm supposed to stand?
Yes, sir. You got it right. The case.
There we go. What's up, guys? All right. What's your take on not only what happened the last few weeks, but the whole season?
It was man, it's just tough. Like last year, 49 wins get you the third seed. Get you the third seed in the East this year. So, it's tough being in a historic Western Conference. 49 wins get you a playing game. But there were so many positives to take from this year. Obviously, Z had a hugely successful season. My man played 70 games and was turning into exactly what we know he can be in front of our eyes. And unfortunately, at the timing of the injury, we didn't get to see it. But what you got there. Obviously, huge leaps and bounds from different various guys on the team. Obviously, Herb, Trey, just different guys. Najee, Jose, guys just making huge jumps. So it was really cool to see that. It's just tough. Like right now, it's hard not to let what just happened overshadow the year. So that's where I'm at the moment.
With what you said about improvement and whatnot, how close do you feel like this group is to reaching that elite level?
We're not close. At the time that we were building into it, B.I. hurt himself in Orlando. Then when B.I. gets back, Z hurt himself. It's just, we were taking punch after punch, and it's just unfortunate that just kind of seems to be the bug that's bitten us the past few years, and everybody around here knows the ceiling on this team is way higher than what we've ever hit. But again, you only get X amount of opportunities and chances to prove it. So we all know decisions have to be made, and that's the reality of the NBA.
What do you think it'll take going forward?
The bug itself, though, does that not make you think that you are a little bit closer if you just stay healthy, more or less?
Yeah, I mean, it's easy to say that after 1 year. It's easy to say after 2 years. It's hard after 3 or 4. It's hard after 3 or 4. And again, I'll be the first one to tell you, I love this group of guys, and I think we have the potential to be as good as every single team in the NBA. Truly, we do. But again, that's the nature of the NBA. It's all business.
You were one of the loudest, guys who supported B.I. and spoke up on, what type of player he is. What do you think about just the playoffs he had and how you expect him to respond to that this summer?
Mm-hmm. I mean, first things first. I've had the bone bruise he has in his knee. It hurts, bad, and we appreciate him being a warrior and being out there with us. I've seen the guy when he came into the league, and now obviously I've been fortunate enough to play with him, here on a second go around, and he is a star. My man is a star. My man is a superstar, and we just, it's unfortunate the timing that his knee got hurt and all that happened, because we know what he's capable of. We've seen it time and time again, and a rocky playoffs doesn't change my opinion of him. Still love him to death, still think the world of him.
Was it unrealistic to think that a guy could come back after something like that and just pick up where he left off?
Well, it wasn't on just him. It wasn't on just him. It was on all of us. And B.I. didn't get swept in the first round. CJ didn't get swept in the first round. I didn't get swept in the first round. We all did. I didn't make some shots. We all missed shots. It didn't just happen to one of us, and that's not something that sits right with any of us. So, no, it was unrealistic to expect that, and nobody should have expected that, and we certainly didn't. But this was a whole team loss, not one or two, any specific player.
Griff said that the last few years have been about continuity, but that this offseason will be different in that change could potentially happen, is what he alluded to. You've been through it. I mean, you've been with 4 organizations, you've been traded. Some of these guys haven't. Mm-hmm. Is there a different mindset that goes in when the executive says we're shifting from continuity to making the team better, and that could potentially bring about change?
Yeah, I mean, I've never been on a team where the GM where Griff said that outright. But I read it. We all are going to, and we're all pawns in the game at the end of the day. This is a business. they're gonna, the people at the top are gonna shuffle their pieces and go again. And fortunately, everybody in that locker room understands that understands that situations are temporary, and again, this is all like I keep saying, this is all a business. So if it comes down to moves being made, it comes down to moves being made. But at the end of the day, I just consider myself incredibly fortunate to be able to play this game for a living and provide for my family.
You've been around Z for almost 3 years now. Just what do you make of his growth as a person and his approach in general, not just on the court, but in general to where he is now? Yeah.
I'm so proud of Z. Truly, really, really proud of him. Not just as a player. Because when I first got here, he was out for the full year, and getting to see him last year, and now this year, and the stage that he was performing on, and doing his thing. But you guys can see the growth on the court, but off the court, in the locker room, in the training room, with his work ethic and his level of care, dedication. I mean, he is a ready professional now. He was obviously an incredible player when we got here, but I don't know if I would have called him a real professional. But this year, he did everything that was asked of him and more. He deserved so much more from this season, and the growth he's made as a leader on the team, as a focal point of a franchise, and as a culture setter has been. Has put this franchise ahead in many ways, and hopefully you guys will get to see that. See his voice more, because he certainly got that, but I'm just incredibly proud of him. I mean, he's been awesome.
I know it isn't really about you, but you've been the vet on the team, or one of the vets on the team. Does it mean something to know that you contributed to that growth and shaping what his career is going to be a little bit?
Yeah, no, absolutely it does. Absolutely it does. That's why I touched on basketball for a little bit, but because what can I teach that guy about basketball? My man averaged 27 in his second year. I ain't doing that ever. And so for me, it's all about the growth of these guys. Obviously, Trey, Herb, seeing them grow, then the next class of Dice and EJ, seeing them grow, and now Carlos here with us as well, and Hawk this year. Griff had always talked about he wants good guys in the locker room, good culture pieces, and that matters. It really genuinely matters, and he hit the nail on the head with every single person in that locker room, and seeing the growth of each individual person on the court, great. Off the court is just Dyson's out of his shell. Z is staying at team dinners for hours laughing with us. He's in the locker room after practice. We're sitting there, haven't even showered yet, just dying in the locker rooms. This is a team that genuinely cares and loves each other, and seeing him come out of his shell, seeing Bi open up more, seeing Dice and Hawk, all these different guys, be more vocal has been probably my favorite thing about my tenure here.
Because of that growth that you saw from Z and the professionalism, does that make it sting a little bit more that his injury happened when it happened, because you saw what he was kind of becoming and what he was doing for this team at that point?
Yeah. For me personally, yeah, absolutely. Just because you know those moments, those moments where Anthony Edwards just had one, where it was oh, he's here, and that was a moment of yeah, well, everybody check this guy out. He's officially here, and he's incredible. But that wasn't just a flash. That guy's here to stay, and really, really proud of him for it.
Did you ever think that you were a pulled hamstring away from a whole different ending? Do you ever think about that?
No, that's silly to consider. Every single team is a pulled hamstring away from irrelevance. Just happened to be us.
We asked a couple guys about their thoughts on you being one of the finalists for Teammate of the Year award. I was just wondering, from your perspective, how meaningful is that to be one of the people considered for that?
It's really cool, actually. I do pride myself on carrying myself a certain way, within the organization, within this leadership role that I've been, so thankfully given. Since they nominated me for the award, that shows they don't know me, because these guys wouldn't vote me for that at all. I give them a hard time. But no, honestly, it's a really cool honor, and something that hopefully is just another good thing to add to your reputation, and 10 years in next year. So never hurts to be a good teammate.
We talk a lot about young players growing in this league. How have you seen Willie kind of grow as he settled into what kind of head coach he wants to be?
No, Willie, being here for Willie's growth has been really cool to see as well. I'm not just saying like, oh yeah, he's been here for 3 years and our wins have increased all 3 years. That's a statement in itself. But just in how he's been able to be more open and adjust to certain things and take suggestions and be real, be real relationship first. I would say that's really appreciated, because all this is relationships. All locker room is relationships. All the front office relationships, coaching staff relationships, and he's a guy that really stresses and emphasizes that. And I think you can see the impact it's had on our team.
When you talk about relationships in the locker room, is that something that you came into the NBA with a focus on, or is that something that as your career has gone on you've realized like how much more important that is?
No, that's been as I've gone from a few different stops now, been in a few different locker rooms and met some people high up that I think highly of, and some people high up that I don't think highly of. That's something that has always stuck out to me. This is a multi-billion-dollar industry. There's so much revenue and betting and all that type of stuff going on now, but all it boils down to is relationships and people, the human aspect of things. And I've found that the organizations and the leaders that value that and put that at the forefront seem to get the most out of their relationships in this league. So that'll continue to stay forefront for me, and I've been thrilled to be part of an organization, to still be part of an organization that values that so immensely.
From a pure basketball perspective, when BI, CJ, and Z were on the court, y'all didn't win your minutes. Just why do you think that occurred with how talented those people are?
No, that's something that again, it was on my mind, and I did a lot of homework into while they were on the court together. But it feels like months since they've been on the court together. No, I don't know. I think it's a combination of a lot of things. Obviously, you've got very, very unique play styles trying to play together, and that's not to say it won't work or will not work or anything like that. But it's just something that I think Jokic said it. Jokic had a quote the other day about talking about his chemistry in the pick and roll with Jamal Murray. All of it is repetition, reps, familiarity, and being around each other in a state of continuity. And so this year, this is the first time they've really been on the court together, and it had its ups and downs, but that's oftentimes it takes continuity to form a successful bond and relationship on the court. So. Whether we get to see it or not, that's not up for us. But I still am in the corner in belief of the fact that they can play together, and they're all so unselfish that they are willing to make it work.
Thanks.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Okay. Have you had time to let it ruminate a little bit overnight? Or?
Yeah, a little bit, and it stings. It's sometimes difficult to process, but it's a part of it. You got to go through these moments, and it's a tough way to end the season for sure.
Do you think, like, looking back on it, you are a hamstring pull away from achieving something that's pretty darn good?
Yeah, I mean, we were right there. So we definitely take that into consideration, and that's in the back of our minds. But even with that, we had have a lot of trust and faith in our group, and we went after it, but we just came up short and not enough to get the job done.
Obviously, the timing of the injury was unfortunate, but Zion played more regular season games than he has in his career. Just what do you think about his year this year?
Yeah, definitely a step in the right direction for Z and the staff around him. It was great to have him on the floor for as many games as that he was on the floor, and we got a chance to see him throughout the course of the season just continue to get better and take steps forward to seeing who he really is, and it was fun to be a part of for sure.
Well, you guys saw a pretty good sample size of CJ, Zion, and BI together this year. Just the raw numbers were not great when they shared the floor. Do you feel like those guys fit together? Can they fit together? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think they can, and those are questions and decisions that I go back as a coach and try to reevaluate. What can I do better? How can I put those guys in a better possible position? What groups can we have on the floor that work well together, that complement them? But as a whole, this group, even with the disappointing loss, the disappointing playoff performance, big picture is we had a successful season. We fell short of our expectations, but that group had a successful season. So, we'll still take some time and reevaluate and see where we are, but I definitely think that they can do it together.
And after getting to see OKC and playing a bunch of those great teams in that homestand late in the year, what's your feel on just what this team needs to do to kind of improve and take that next step to join that upper echelon in the West?
Yeah, I think we're trending in that direction, but at this moment, it's hard to dive into that. Right now, we're all still feeling the ramifications of losing in the playoffs, and I'm sure Griff answers some of those questions, but that'll be something we talk about in the off season together and figure out, what did we do well this season? Let's continue to do it, and what's some areas that we can improve in.
A 49-win season, still a 7-win improvement from last year.
Yeah.
How do you couple that with the exit that you guys had when you kind of look back and reflect on this season of, whether it's successful or not?
Well, you can still, in my opinion, you can still have a successful season and fall short of your expectations, and that's where we are. Is that we had a tremendous season. I think in the last 15 years is the most wins the franchise has had. So something we can definitely build on. Yeah, but we still feel short of expectations that we have for ourselves, and that's where you go back and you reevaluate. What are we doing well? We want to continue to trend in that direction, and what's some areas that we can improve in, and that's what we'll do this season.
When Brandon made in his first All-Star game, he was taking about 7 threes a game. The last 3 years or so, it's been just under 4. I know the whole staff and his teammates have been rooting for him to take more. Just what do you make of that, and what needs to happen to get those attempts back up? Because you guys have talked about trying to get around 40 or even 35 a game.
Yeah, it's just trusting in your work. Brandon, he's more than capable of doing it, and as a team, we've gotten better in that area. We want to continue to improve, but taking quality threes, and he's a big part of that. But it's really just having trust and confidence in the work that you put in, and then having that carry over on the floor.
He talked a lot last night about just dating back to Team USA, how this was a tough year for him, how he was kind of disappointed in his play. What did you kind of see from him this year, and what he was dealing with, how he kind of, I guess, what he was trying to do to get over that so he can perform at the level y'all are used to seeing from him?
Yeah, when I think about B.I.'s season, there's a level of his season that I'm proud of. He also played in more games than he's played in previously. And he was just fighting. He stayed with it. Wasn't the year I'm sure he wanted to have, wasn't his best, but he stuck with it. Cares about this group, cares about being on the floor and going after it with his teammates. And but there's moments throughout your career, all of us, where we have to feel this. You got to go through some difficult, adverse situations, and those situations are meant to make us better.
Griffin had hinted at the fact that OKC got the chance to develop while there was no expectation of winning, and yet your team has to develop while the expectation was there. How do you think this unit has handled it, especially this year, growing while being pressured to make sure you win and get to the playoffs?
we're all extremely proud of this group and what we've done. Honestly, over the last 3 seasons, there's continuous growth. Those are, the foundation is there, and we want to continue to build on that. We have a ton of room for improvement. I'm sure once we get away from here and we decompress, we'll figure out, how we want to progress in that area. But overall, we're extremely proud of the character that we have. We're extremely proud of the work that we all put in on the floor, our whole staff. And so I know we're trending in the right direction. It's hard to look at it as a whole right now because we're still feeling the effects of losing in the playoffs and not reaching our goals. But we're going to get there, and that's the key is continue to instill that positivity that we've done and confidence in this group.
Could you explain what happened at home this year? As good as you were on the road, the home court wasn't the home court. Does that puzzle you? Do you have an explanation for it? How much have you thought about it?
I don't think much about it. I mean, we'll try to be better at home, but sometimes it happens where you're not as good as at home, but you're better on the road. Sometimes teams are really good at home and they're not good on the road. I just try to keep the main thing, and that's win as many games as you can, put yourself in position to give yourself an opportunity to go to the postseason. We did that, and we'll continue to look at it.
You have a lot of good choices. Whose growth impressed you the most?
It's a number of guys on our team that has impressed me. You can start with Z and the steps that he's taken to play in 70 games and be elite and show himself in the world what he's capable of doing. Herb has made tremendous jumps with his shooting this season. Trey, JV, the way he's handled all the different adversity that's been thrown at him in the lineup, not starting in the third quarter, all of those. So I can go down the list. CJ, his shot profile, I can go down the list, but we're proud of this group. I'm proud of this group. We're proud of this group. And, all these guys are continuously making strides to get better.
You guys made significant changes to your medical staff last offseason. As you just said, Zion played 60 games. Brandon played the most games since his days with the Lakers. Why did it work?
I think it started at the top. It started with Griff. It started with Trajan, having conversations with our performance and medical and figuring out ways that, we can be better. And that's the goal is in order to give ourselves a chance, our guys have to be healthy on the floor. And they did a tremendous job this season of the communication, number one, with each other, with our staff, making sure they address situations right away, making sure all the guys are comfortable with what we're doing in the medical and performance side, and we saw the results were that we were a healthier team overall.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jeanette.
You guys had late game execution struggles throughout the season. There's been a lot of outside talk about maybe adding a point guard to the team. Griff kind of downplayed the notion about needing a pure point guard. Said it's more about intelligent basketball plays and just kind of creating the right shots. Just where do you fall in that philosophy?
I fall in that philosophy with first myself. It's going back and reevaluating as a coach, how could I have put our team in a better possible position to be successful down the stretch of games? And that's where I start with everything. And from there, we'll look at what's needed. But at this moment, it's just something on the list that is on the improvement side of things for us.
Griff talked about in recent years it's been about continuity and seeing everything together, and that this offseason may not be about complacency. You played in this league a long time. You just alluded to all these guys that you've developed and been with kind of as a core for a few years now. If radical roster change happens, is it just, not radical, but roster change happens with guys that you've developed to become close to, is that just kind of part of the game?
Well, yes, it is a part of the game, and change is inevitable. But at this moment, for me, I know for Griff, for our organization, there's not going to be any emotional changes that we're going to make. We're going to take a step back, look at our group, and really be diligent about what those changes are. And we got a great foundation. I think Griff alluded to it. We got a great foundation here. We want to continue to build on that, and we'll see where we land.
You've been with Zion for 3 years. What have you learned about what motivates him, what makes him tick?
He's a competitor. That's what we all love about him. He's a competitor. He loves to be challenged. He wants to step on the floor and be the best that he can be, and he definitely showed major steps in the right direction of doing that this season.
You think he's? Go ahead.
You talk about how the team is trending in the right direction. How do you kind of balance that with the entire Western Conference is also kind of trending in the right direction, it seems like?
Yeah, the whole Western Conference is trending in the right direction. Yeah, I mean it's a tough conference to be in, but that's the way the cards are dealt. And so we were right there in the mix of everything. We had a chance to be 6th, 5th in the West. We didn't get there, but we had opportunities to do it, and that's where it's in our control. And so we're right there. We're going to continue to take steps to get there, and we know the West is going to be tough again next season. So, we all look forward to that challenge. We all look forward to looking at this roster, looking at the coaching staff, whatever we can do to, keep building on the positivities and then add to the improvement areas.
Coach, do you think that looking at Zion's play the second half of the year, do you think some of the criticism he got early in the year maybe lit a little match under his seat and he was kind of perturbed by that in a good way?
Yeah, I think he took it as motivation for sure. I think we all heard some of it, right? You try not to, but if I'm being honest, you hear some of the noise out there. You try to block it out. But a credit to Z, a credit to our staff here, Coach Aaron Miles, Bove, Tom, Trajan, Griff, like everybody involved. Z did a great job of stacking his days, putting his time in, putting his work in, and it showed when he got out on the floor.
Thanks,
All right.
Appreciate it.
Jada, you good?
Is there any way you can move a little bit? Is my mic on?
Griff, what do you make of 49 regular season wins, but ending the season like that in the playoffs and the totality of that?
Yeah, so obviously disappointed to be doing this today. I think the 49 wins that you alluded to are part of several things that happened this year that would have led you to believe we'd be playing deep into the summer at times. I think there were times where very large chunks of the season for months at a time where we had the second best net rating in the league, and were it not for Boston, we would have looked like the best team in the league for stretches. And I also think we had stretches where you could see we had a lot of room for growth and a lot of improvement we needed to make. Unfortunately, we continued to have injury issues and certainly had a big one at the wrong time. But there's so many positives we take out of the season. It's really unfortunate this season ended in the way it did. You'd like a season to crescendo to a moment that lets everybody know how good your season really was. We had the #1 road record in the NBA. We were 6th in defensive rating and 6th in net rating. We had moments where we really showed what we could be, but I think we did it often in fits and starts, which is disappointing. We're in a historically good Western Conference. I read something the other day that I think is true. It's the first time a conference has had 10 teams above 500 at the same time. Our record this year would have been good for 3rd in the West last year, would have been good for 3rd in the East this year. It's a very competitive conference. And so I think whereas in the past we've always erred on the side of continuity, and our takeaway has always been, let's see this group healthy. I think we've seen it enough. I think we had some really, really good opportunity to see Zion play a career high in games. I think we saw it for segments of time well enough to understand that we've got a lot of work to do. And again, because it is a historically good Western Conference, there's teams that didn't make the playoffs that are going to get radically better this offseason. We need to do the same. And I think you'll see a real sense of urgency from all of us to do that.
Looking at next season, what are some of the biggest needs you think you need to address?
I think it's more than just specific needs. It's really just about growth in every area of the organization. I think last year we talked a lot and too much was put on the medical side and the performance side, and we didn't talk enough about the other things that we were working on. This entire building is going to undergo a transformation this offseason, figuratively and literally. really big projects here that ownership is investing in. Mrs. Benson's really excited about changing the look and feel of this. I think that will happen on and off the court. But in terms of specific needs to address, we haven't even had our time to visit with our players individually yet. So until we do that, I don't really want to get into specifics about player-related changes.
When do you start kind of that process? So you don't do, I know you don't have a knee-jerk, but do you take a week off? Do you kind of map out when we sit down with Mrs. Benson and kind of plan out the future, who's here, who's not, what our vision is? Like, what is your process?
Yeah, I mean, that's from a front office perspective, it's an ongoing process, right? I mean, we're doing it constantly. I think you get yourself in trouble if you try to do anything as a reaction to one particular series or one particular turn of events. If we did that when we came back from the Western Conference road trip we ended the season with, which was just an absolute meat grinder, and you win four in a row, and you play 3 games in 3.5 days, and you play the Lakers, would we tend to the side of believing we're what we were when we won those road games, or are we what we were when we lost to the Lakers? You just can't do that. This is a much larger, more thorough process than that. So we'll take a lot of time to go through it as a group. You know, we don't tend to do that during the year as much and as often with every interest group in the organization together. We tend to do it as a front office. So this will be a good time for us to really dive deep with the whole group. But I want to be really, really clear. This is not going to be a summer of complacency. It's time to get better.
Hey, Greg, what's kind of your assessment about the job Willie did? Was it too early to say?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Willie Green. How do you kind of assess his?
Yeah, I think the coaching staff did a really good job with a really difficult situation. I think when you've got guys in and out of the lineup in the way we did, that's harder than just having guys not play. I think in the first part of the season, we really performed well under adversity, and that propelled us to some wins that probably got us further ahead towards the end. I think we went through a stretch there where we lost B.I. and Jose at exactly the wrong time. And then we lost Z at exactly the wrong time. And I think throughout that, Willie stayed very, very authentically himself and stayed in a space where guys knew what he was going to bring to the table every day. I think that's hard when you've got that much change. And at the same time, I think Willie would be the first person to tell you there's room for them to grow and get better as well, and I expect that will happen as well.
We saw a pretty decent sample size of CJ, Zion, and BI together. You guys lost those minutes. Just what do you make of the fit of those 3 guys? Can you run it back with guys all making more than $30 million when you lose the minutes?
Well, the making more than $30 million means they're really good players. And if you look at the teams that are still playing in the playoffs and will play deep into the playoffs, they all have multiple players that make a lot of money and are really good and can carry the team forward. So you certainly don't come at this with, we're going to build around one of them. I think certainly anytime 2 of the 3 were on the court, we won those minutes. And when 3 of them were on the court, we tended not to. That has a lot to do with what we support that group with and giving them the ancillary pieces that help them thrive as well. And I think knowing now, because we've gotten to see the group enough what those things are, I think we'll be able to address some of that and get better that way. But certainly we have to be open to a lot of different things.
Do you think you need 1 or 2 more big difference makers to win the West?
I mean, I'd take 7 or 8 more difference makers. No, I mean, I don't know that it's difference makers as much as it is pieces that make the difference makers we already have fit better as well. You know, I mean, we've got the kind of players that everybody wants on really good teams. I think one thing you did see is that our secondary players, our ancillary pieces are very, very good and very well thought of. There's going to be a lot of room for growth for them. There was a period of time this year where Jordan Hawkins was, I think, second in Rookie of the Year balloting, and people thought we had absolutely stolen something. And he's somebody we're really excited about moving forward. He's going to be one of those difference makers eventually, we think. I think we have a lot of pieces that are that. A couple years ago, we would have said the same thing about Trey or Herb. So we have several pieces we can grow with. We have several draft assets that we're going to be able to use to leverage to get better. And I think, to your point, yes, you need more difference makers, but what you need is more people who understand exactly what's being asked of them on a regular basis as well. And we've got to do a better job of making that clear.
You
David, how motivated is the team in keeping Brandon Ingram? I know he's available for extension talks. He's got 1 more year left on his deal. And how do you compartmentalize his season he had this year? I don't know if you heard his comments last night, but he said for him it's the worst season he's ever had here in New Orleans.
Yeah, I saw his comments. I really appreciate Brandon because he takes so much personal responsibility for this and he cares so much. I also love the fact that he loves this franchise, he loves this city, and he wants to be here. And we're really grateful that we've built something people want to be part of. I think Mrs. Benson and her team should be very proud of what they've built, that we have so many guys that want to stay a part of this. At the same time, I think his willingness to take ownership of things makes you feel even better about the human he is. And that's the one thing I'm really proud of. I think we've gotten the people part of this right to an enormous degree throughout this roster, and I expect that will carry us through the summer as well.
And with him, is your feel that it's max or nothing? Like, could you see a world where he accepts less than the max?
I mean, we've never talked about it, and I haven't talked to him at all. I had a great deal of appreciation for what he tried to do in light of the situation and playing through what he played through and coming back in the way he did. He was really thrown into a difficult situation. I think Willie alluded to it last night, but to be injured for a month and come back and have to play in the crucible of playoff basketball, that's not easy for anybody. You'd like it to be. You'd love to just think it's plug and play and we're going to just plug in another superstar and carry on. But one of the things that Brandon and Z have had to do a lot of is carry the team when the other one is out. It hasn't happened very often that when that happened, they were both out and asked to carry the load. So I think it was a really difficult end of the season for Brandon, but it was difficult for everybody. I think CJ encapsulated a lot of that really well last night in his 20 minutes with you all. So
I know you, since you got here, have kind of unapologetically talked about what you said, doing it the right way with the right people. And I think for those of us that have been here a long time, you see something that's more positive and tangible than it ever has. But when you kind of, maybe just overall philosophy, talking about contract extensions and how you handle people, how do you balance that with the person and who they are and your belief in them versus maybe raw analytics and stats, which may say something else?
Yeah, well, numbers don't say anything, to be clear. Numbers prove someone's point or they disprove someone's point that they're trying to make at any given time. Numbers don't give you any answers. The better you are with numbers, the better questions you ask. And I'm not convinced we've asked enough of the right questions yet, and we're going to continue to do that. But in terms of balancing what people think it looks like with what it should be, you're never going to pivot all the way to one side or the other. We're never going to pivot to, oh, well, it doesn't work, that can't work. Even if we made changes, we would make changes with similarly high character human beings that are about the right things, because that formula for us is solid. You know, I think one of the things, when you ask the question about the 49 wins, our foundation and our nucleus is really good. And again, we're competing in a historically good Western Conference. You come out of a series where a really, really good team sort of waylays you. It makes you think you won 9 games and not 49 games. The reality is we won 49 games and did a lot of really good things. And so I think you're never going to fall on one side or the other of that. It has to be all of it. It has to be the totality of all of those things. And I think to a fault, we probably erred on the side of continuity because we hadn't seen it. And I don't think we have to do that. But I also don't think there's any subset of numbers that is the answer.
With that in mind, you talk about how the team, does good with Brandon, BI, CJ, and Zion all on the court, but those spurt games where one is out or the other is out, have to step up. How much does that push the lack of no complacency offseason of wanting to get maybe another star-ish player to come in and fill that void?
Well, I mean, again, we just talked about, and Christian asked the question about the 3 guys playing together. Those are 3 damn good basketball players. So you can go get 3 different stars and put them together. That's not necessarily going to work. There's a second apron tax team that got swept out of the playoffs too. There's a second apron tax team that didn't make the playoffs. They got a lot of star quality. So it's not that. It's you have to get the right fit of the right pieces at the right time. And as CJ said, to some degree, you have to get lucky. The thing that I think OKC has done incredibly well from a fit perspective is those kids got to develop and those young men got to develop in an environment where winning didn't matter for a couple years. And our team was consistently trying to win. So the development curve looks different and the trend line looks different. But if you look at what we've done, we went 36 wins, 42 wins, 49 wins. I mean, that's consistent year-over-year growth and development. That's exciting. The problem is we can't look at that and say we're home because the West is just getting so much better so fast. So I appreciate the question, and at the same time, I don't think this is more star quality necessarily. I think it's more fit and the right pieces.
What do you think of Zion's season as a whole?
Obviously, getting him to play a career-high number of games was exciting for us. And when I say getting him doing the work to get to that point was exciting. He did a remarkable job this year. I think coming out of the in-season tournament, he had seen a lot of what he needed to do better, and he really bought into that. I think the connection he had with our performance team was pretty profound in a positive way. I think we saw a lot of really good things on the court. I think probably for me the most disheartening part of his injury was you saw him take and make pull-up jump shots towards the end of his run there, and that was something that coaches have been encouraging him to do, and he was reluctant to do because he always feels like the best option is to try to shoot at the rim. And I think you saw so much evolution in his game that came from the evolution in his body and the work he put in. So we're really excited about where Zion is and where he intends to go.
This is a team that's publicly talked about wanting to take 43s a game. The players have talked about it, the coaches have talked about it. At some point, it becomes a numbers game with the personnel and stuff.
Yeah.
Just what are your general thoughts on, and I know there's no right arbitrary number of taking a certain amount of threes, but there was a strong correlation with your guys' wins and the number of you take. So just what are your general thoughts on, you talked about fit, just getting the right type of players in there to get some of those numbers up?
Yeah, I mean, I think the right number of threes to take is the number you have to take to make more than your opponent, right? So there were games we got outscored by 30 from the three-point line at times. That's not a formula for success, right? And at the same time, we were 6th in defensive rating, so we were taking away a lot of efficient shots in theory. I think offensively, it's, yes, you want to take more threes, but what you want is an offense that efficiently creates those looks. And I think you saw that even in the Oklahoma series. We had a lot of open threes. And guys who have made threes all year missed a lot of threes. And at the same time, they had guys who missed threes all year make a lot of threes. You want actions that yield good looks. And I think to a huge degree we had that. And I think we need to do a better job of getting people to lean into that shot and understanding that it's good for them. And again, the coaching staff worked tirelessly at it. I think they did a great job of improving both the number of looks we get from three and the quality of looks we get from three, and we just got to get to a point where we've got more of the right pieces on the floor to make them.
A lot of the conversation around the Pelicans is they need a pure point guard. What do you make of that line of thinking?
Yeah, I think having a pure point guard is great, just having more basketball IQ on the court in general. I think it's less about the specific of a pure point guard and more about overall basketball intelligence and approach to the game. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a score-first point guard. I don't know that I call him a, quote, pure point guard, but they're getting the best, most efficient look on a real regular basis with the way they're running their stuff. So it can be predicated on one individual or it can be predicated on system, and I think we've done a little bit of both throughout our time. And yes, I would like more basketball IQ for sure.
Do you think Zion is on the verge of elite?
I think he's been fully elite and run through the door of that at times in his career. I think he's on the verge of being able to be sustainably available as elite, and that's exciting for us.
As far as I know everything's kind of a time and of a place. Just following up on that question, I know there was talk of like when it was Drew Holiday's team when you first got here, MVP candidate, and then BI being an all NBA type player. Is it maybe time to lean into Zion being that guy for this franchise and say the pieces around him are the most important thing?
I don't think you lean into one person ever doing that. I just don't think any team playing that intends to continue to play is going to think that they're built around one person. Denver can say they're built around Jokic, but Jamal Murray's the one making all the game-winning shots, right? So I think if you look at it, it takes multiple star quality players to win, and we've got to find the right fit of that.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.